Here are a couple more exercises that focus on strengthening the inner thighs as opposed to the outer thighs that help building strength for relieving knee pain. The first is a wall sit. You're going to sit back against the wall. You want to maintain a nice natural lumbar curve here, and we'll place the block between the legs. So roll the shoulders back so you keep the chest nice and lifted, and then walk your feet out so that when you bend the knees, you can still see your toes. You'll want to be able to see your toes. We don't want the knees to go beyond the toes in this one. And then we'll come down and we'll hold. So the goal here is to come into a squatting position, a supported squat, but we're squeezing the block. So we're going to work our quads, we're going to work our hip extensors, but because we're squeezing the block, we're building more strength in the inner thighs, and we'll start to recruit more of the inner quads, the vastus medialis, that we need to strengthen for people who have knee problems. So we're forcing the inner thighs to work a little more than the outer thighs. And as well, because we're hugging those thighs in, we're turning off the gluteus maximus and accentuating the gluteus medius. So hug those thighs in, hold. Stay there for about a minute or so. If it gets too easy, you can hold a little bit longer. If it's too hard, you start with 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and then come up. Shake out the legs and do another set. So we'll do at least 2 of them a day, working on strengthening the pelvis, the hips, the thighs, but with the emphasis on the inner thighs and vastus medialis. Another exercise that we use for a lot of things, including back pain and sacroiliac problems, is Setu Bandha, bridge pose, lying on the back and squeezing the block between the legs. So we're going to lie on the back. And we've done this before for the sacroiliac, but it's also a wonderful pose to practice for knee problems. And again, the focus is hugging the thighs in, pushing the feet down into ground, and lifting the hip up. So we're working the quads, we're working the hip extensors, but always while hugging the thighs in. And for this one, we hold for about 5 seconds at the top, come down slowly, and repeat about 3 sets of 5 or 3 sets of 10. Now, very important when we practice this pose in yoga, when you have the block, it's much easier to do it, but you want to make sure the knees stay in line with the hips and that the feet are pointing straight ahead. So the tendency here in this pose is for the toes to turn out and the knees to open. Okay, we do this because we're stronger in our outer hips and our gluteus maximus pulls our thighs out. So you have to really actively keep the feet pointing straight ahead, keep the inner thighs rolling down, and work on imagining that you're squeezing a block between the legs, even if you don't have one. So there's always this sense of inner thighs down, knees in line with the hips, feet pointing straight ahead. Very important for knee health in this pose. And then come down slowly.